how to book a ticket for your WHOOSH train while you are in Jakarta, Indonesia. Hey everybody, I'm here in Menteng, a place where I used to live a long time ago in the mid-70s. And for those who don't know yet, Menteng used to be, back in the Dutch East Indies era, an upscale neighborhood. It still is. Still lots of diplomats live here, ambassadors, a lot of Europeans. And I'm now here visiting a few days, and I'm going back to Los Angeles. But I want to take you guys on a trip with the WHOOSH, WHOOSH, also known as the Kereta Api Cepat Indonesia China, or translated in English, the high-speed train from Indonesia and China. Why China? Well, China developed the project from A till Z. They invested lots of money in it, so that's why they call it simply a Kereta Api Cepat Indonesia China. So that being said, you have to create a account. Once you have your account created, you have to log in, which I already did, and then you have to choose single round trip, and I'm going for a round trip. Halim, that used to be the airport here in Jakarta, but now it's of course Soekarno-Hatta. Halim is a military airport, and then you're not going to Bandung itself. It's a city outside of Bandung. It's about 30 minutes from Bandung city. And here it is, Tegalwar. Sumaracam, that is the final port of arrival. I'm going on the 5th, and then you just search. There you go. As early as 7:25 in the morning and as late as 2000 hours in the evening, I mean 8 p.m. Then I'm going tomorrow at 8 o'clock. I make the reservation. I confirm here is my name, Harold Michael Passage. Now, options: first class 600,000 rupiah, business 450, and economy 250. I'm gonna do first class because I want to show you guys how things look inside when you travel. Come on, 600,000 rupiah, it's about 35 US dollars or 30 euros. So click on next step. This is me, and then you're gonna reserve your seat. I want to sit on a window. There you go. And then you go confirm over here. Next. It brings you to a checkout page. There you go. And then you have to book your return ticket. That's it. So we're gonna go all together on the WHOOSH to Bandung. I'm gonna show you the beautiful places in Bandung, the places I want you guys to go when you're visiting Indonesia. And we're gonna meet up with Nicky. That's right, Nicky, also in Indo. He was born and raised in Leiden, raised by his Indo Opa and Oma. Oma is from Sukabumi, which is Jawa Barat, West Java, and Opa is from Semarang, Central Java. All right, let's go. Whoosh!
Sun hitting my shades. Ooh, yeah. Riding low and slow, this vibe never fades. What's up? Palm trees dancing in the hazy sunlight glow. West Coast rhythm, let the good times flow. Cruising, grooving, feel that funky breeze. Talk about singing, setting spirits at ease. From the hills to the shore, ain't no second guessing. In these Cali streets, we count every blessing.
So it's early morning. It is 6:30 a.m. and I am on my way to the metro station that connects me from Jakarta Pusat to Halim, where I'm gonna take the WHOOSH train to Bandung. And I took a Grab, and as you can see, I have now driving in one of the major streets here in Menteng. As you can see, the typical Hindia Belanda Dutch East Indies houses, they're now covered with gates so you can see it, but yeah, this is full of, there we go, those mansions from the glory days. There we go. The famous Jalan Tekut Omar. Jalan Suwiryo. Look at all these houses. Woo! I didn't count the stairs, the steps. Welcome to lazy Jakarta. Instead of taking the stairs down, they prefer to take the elevator. Okay, I have to be sure I'm taking the right one. Airport, let me ask. Pagi. Mau ke Halim.
Peron 1. Bapaknya nggak terlalu di sini.
Ini?
Maaf, di bawahnya. Di bawahnya Pak.
Ini?
Di kotak kuning.
Oh gini?
Di kotak yang warna kuning.
Ini.
Angkat dulu kartunya. Ya, tempel lagi.
Terima kasih ya.
Janti mulia ya Pak.
Ya, oke. That's so easy. Look how clean it is. Look how clean it is. Can you imagine this in the Netherlands or in LA? Hell no. Just sure. Okay, this is the right one. Mas, ini ke Halim. Mau ke Halim ini. Betul ya? Ya, oke. See how clean it is over here. Can you imagine this in LA or in Rotterdam, the Netherlands? No way. Look at this. Mas, ini ke Halim kan?
Ini ke Halim Bapak.
Terima kasih.
Baik,
Ya.
Bapak.
Check this freaking out. Air conditioning. Can you see the windows? How clean this is?
Harap pastikan keamanan anak Anda terjaga agar selalu dalam jangkauan. Please ensure the safety of your children and keep them inside.
That's the reason why those floors and those windows are so clean, because they have somebody who who's maintaining this. Every 5-10 minutes you see somebody sweeping the floors, and if there are sticky fingerprints on the window, he or she will be wiping it off. That is excellent customer service, because that's the #1 priority over here. So I'm here in the metro standing. Nama kamu siapa? Ricky, and he's basically responsible for the operations here, and I'm gonna ask him one question, okay? Kenapa di sini, okay, metro, jendela dan kursi bisa jadi bersih? Kok bisa begitu?
Karena kita setiap sebelum regulasi kita ada proses pembersihan terlebih dahulu. Terus di stasiun lintas kita juga ada petugas kebersihan. Terus di kereta kita nggak boleh makan dan minum gitu kalau di kereta ini. Jadi keretanya selalu bersih, alhamdulillah.
So before the metro starts operating early, jam berapa? Yang paling pagi yang metro yang mau?
Paling pagi
ya.
Jam 5.
5 o'clock the first metro starts operating, and then we have a team that cleans everything. And he also said every 30 minutes there is a team at every station who joins metro, and they clean the floors, the windows, and also this is the thing, no food, no drinking allowed. So the people are disciplined and respectful. And then also we have this guy. Nama kamu siapa? Nah, we also have security on board. That means if people are disrespectful, his job is to ask politely, because things are happening here politely. You don't make people do things, you ask politely. Sir, would you please don't drink, or would you please keep your feet from the chairs? Terus, udah berapa mereka kerja di sini?
Siap izin 1 tahun.
1 tahun. Suka?
Siap suka, senang.
Senang. Oke.
Senang.
Dan di sini di metro ada sering yang salah-salah, atau mereka respect kamu dan dengar-dengar kalau mereka mau minum, kamu juga bilang nggak boleh minum?
Kereta api cepat Jakarta Bandung.
Semua respect dalam perjalanan aman, situasi aman.
We are approaching
See, that's what he said. He
Change
is always
at this
polite.
station for
and people
Jakarta
respect.
Bandung high-speed
It's all
railway.
about how
The
you
doors
do
on the
this.
right side
Terima
will
kasih banyak
open.
ya.
Baik, dengan senang hati.
Kasih banyak ya. And WHOOSH, what is WHOOSH? WHOOSH is an abbreviation, like Indonesians are the champions in abbreviating things. Long words become short. WHOOSH. What does it stand for? WHOOSH. Waktu hemat operasi optimal sistem hebat. There you go. That's the abbreviation for WHOOSH. Okay? Remember, maybe the sound whoosh is also possible. But yeah, like I said, Indonesians there are so good in abbreviating things. Think of it, Rumah Sakit, hospital, becomes RS. Polisi Republik Indonesia becomes Polri. Tim Nasional becomes Timnas, and Indonesia becomes Indo, as an abbreviation, because I am Indo. You guys watching with European and indigenous Indonesian blood, we are the Indos. Indo as who we are, and Indo as abbreviation used by the Indonesians, Indo. Did I make myself clear? Mas, ke WHOOSH ke sana kan? Kanan? Ya? Terima kasih. Atau harus luar enggak kan?
Enggak, berkira aja.
Oke, terima kasih. Okay. There is basically no sound in this train, and it's almost as quiet as my Tesla. So great job. A little bit more about the WHOOSH train, okay? So WHOOSH, where does it come from? WHOOSH is an abbreviation for Waktu Hemat operasi optimal sistem hebat. There you go. Which stands for time consuming, time saving, optimal operations, and a great system. That's WHOOSH. Maybe the sound, whoosh, like electric vehicles, that typical sound, right? So it is very quiet. Before we took off, they also informed us to be quiet, don't talk loud, don't laugh loud, avoid playing music, use your earbuds or your earphones, you know, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to its top speed. It's averaging about 200 kilometers an hour, but it can go up to 350 kilometers an hour. That's a little bit faster than Max Verstappen's Red Bull, right? And then it was officially opened in 2023 by former President Jokowi, and it's operated by KCIC, which stands for Kereta Api Cepat Indonesia China, because it is a joint ventureship between Indonesia and China, and also China invested a lot in this project. The WHOOSH train is also the fastest train in not Southern California, in Southeast Asia. And yeah, if you ever come to Jakarta, it is highly recommended, not only by me but by everybody. Take the same route, get on public transportation, go on the metro system, and then everything is really good organized, and then yeah, experience whether you do first class or business class or just economy class, you know, doesn't matter. The experience itself is mind-blowing. I'm looking at the speed. I'm almost doing 200 kilometers an hour. Check this out. Current speed. Wow, that's faster than my Tesla. People now are so privileged by taking the WHOOSH train. Can you imagine if you're going from Jakarta to Bandung? It takes about 3 hours and 15 minutes. Now by taking the WHOOSH train, it cuts it down to 40. So Bandung is also called the Paris of Java. It's 155 kilometers away from Jakarta, and it's known for 3 things: food, shopping, and nature. And I'm going to the old part of Bandung. There's lots of history, and also to the other side of Bandung. And I said yesterday I'm gonna meet up with my friend Nicky, and yeah, looking forward to this. Bandung is also known for this. In 1955, it was President Sukarno who hosted the Bandung Conference. It brought Asian and African countries together. That was it.
Terima kasih Bapak.
Kembali. Ya. Terima kasih banyak. Sampai ketemu lagi ya.
Sampai jumpa lagi.
I'm happy. Can you see? Can you tell?
Jangan melewati garis pengaman dua sisi tol. Perhatian kepada penumpang yang membawa anak.
Okay, let's meet Nicky.
Serta berhati-hati dengan celah antar.
Nggak bisa.
Boleh bantu? Boleh dicek terlebih dahulu.
Okay. is Nicky. Hey everybody, I'm now in Bandung, in the old part of Bandung, and I'm here in or at the it's a small museum honoring Sukarno. It's called the Sukarno Museum, and it basically was the location where in 1877 a penjara, a prison, was established, and in 2015 they re-innovated this to honor Sukarno and made a small museum out of it. Now, why was he imprisoned in 1929? Quite simple. In 1927 he founded the PNI, Partij Nasional Indonesia, and the Dutch, back then it was still the Dutch East Indies, they saw that as a rising threat. So that's why they captured him with other party leaders, and like you can see, the Sukarno, Subriyadinata, Gatot, and Masku Sumadirja. So, and now decades later, they did a good job by presenting this to the crowd. And this was a cell block where he got captured. Basically, try to picture that. It was a whole row of cell blocks, but like I said, in 2015 they restored everything. And but this is the remaining part. So there's a whole building with a rooftop, and then this is the cell where he was captured. So here we are. This is him, the one and only Nick. I'm funny.
Hello everybody.
I'm funny, you know that. But I've told you many times before, Indos, they come in all shapes, and all colors. There you go. He's not a white boy. He's Indo. Trust me. Okay. So this is what my dad used to say. Een blanke Indische jongen. There you go. Nick, tell us, how, in Christ's sake, did you end up in Indonesia and not in SoCal like me? So that must be a very long story, but go ahead.
Well, since my grandparents came from here, I always traveled to this country, so this was my first choice. But when times in Holland didn't go that well, personal situations and work, I had two options actually. I was thinking I'm going to New York or to Indonesia. And friends advised me, don't choose New York, you will be running out of money very quick, and just go to Indonesia and you come back to Holland. But I went to Indonesia and stayed.
So you said, this is a good one, your grandparents were born and raised over here.
Yeah.
Who was born where and what and so on.
My grandpa was born in Samara, my grandma in Sukabumi.
That's
from my mom's side.
West Java, yeah,
West
and
Java,
then Semarang, Central Java, okay.
So my grandpa is half Chinese, mixed Indo-European, and my grandma is Indo-European mixed Dutch. So already mixed.
Yeah, nice. So these are the Indische Indos.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
we were talking about it in the car, you know. Now in 2026, we have the beautiful country of Indonesia, right? And if now a German guy, Herr Baumgartner, comes to Jakarta and he meets a Javanese girl and they're knocking the boots and they do the wild thing, and then 9 months later a beautiful baby comes out.
Yeah.
That's an Indo,
Yes.
a European father, right? And an Indonesian or an indigenous
New
woman.
Indo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Different.
you guys with opas and omas and grandparents born and raised in the Dutch East Indies, same history. European with indigenous, okay, comes. But the difference is the Dutch East Indies, it's our culture. Indies has a relation
Mixed
to
heritage,
culture.
yeah.
There you go. So good. So now we know your opa and oma were born and raised here.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember when they moved
Yeah,
from
1951 on
51?
the Sibayak.
Okay, so that's good. So very early then, eh?
Yeah, it's pretty early.
And then,
They arrived in Rotterdam and,
Okay.
and moved to Leiden.
so you were born in Leiden.
I was born in Leiden.
Okay, Leiden people, university city by uitstek.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think it's the oldest university in
city,
the
yeah.
Netherlands, right? Yeah, like Leuven in Belgium. This is. So tell me more about your parents. So mom is the Indo then, right?
Yes.
And your dad is Indo or?
My dad is Dutch.
Dutch, okay.
Full Dutch.
Good. Okay, good. And then.
Yeah, my parents divorced already since I was 2, so I live with my grandparents, and that gave me a lot of adat,
Yeah.
a lot of culture and stories, especially stories. My grandma couldn't stop telling stories. Storytelling really is in our family, and I think my grandma missed Indonesia, Dutch East Indies a lot
Yeah.
in that time, and she couldn't stop talking about it. The war, but also the beautiful things. The mountains and the
Yeah.
people and the food.
Was your opa also like her or more close and did
He
a lot
was
of-
more close. He has a little bit more war trauma, I guess.
So the grudge against
Yeah.
the Indonesians because
the Japanese also.
Also, yeah. Were they imprisoned by the Japanese?
My
during
my
the
grandpa was imprisoned for 3 years.
Greece? Was he a KNIL soldier? Or he was just
Yes.
he was a KNIL
Yeah,
soldier.
he was a KNIL soldier.
Okay.
First
now,
on Java, a few camps,
Yeah.
and then the last 2 years of his camp time in Makassar.
okay, South Sulawesi.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Were they compensated by the back pay?
My
Did they-
grandma had she had 1 or 2 compensations.
She did.
Yeah,
Okay. Because she
like
was a-
small amount of money, like 1,500.
Yeah, that was the no. This is the. She's like my mom, so people like your oma who suffered
Yeah.
war trauma. I think that's a special kind of compensation you get from the Dutch government.
But that's
It has
monthly,
to be,
right?
yeah, it has to be approved by a yeah. But the back pay is something else, which is so those who serve under Dutch flag during the Japanese communication, Japanese occupation,
Yeah.
42, 45, like your opa,
Mm-hmm.
they supposed to get a back pay. So that's the amount of money that the Dutch government owes those people,
Yeah,
but they never paid them back.
yeah.
That's the whole thing. And some of them were paid
I don't
lump
think
sum.
everybody got paid, right?
No, of 25,000 euro, but a lot of them still waiting. It's only a handful right
I never
now.
heard
huh?
about
Yeah.
that. My grandma received that.
And then if there's a widow, then she or he would get that. So,
Yeah.
but at least she got some every month until she died. Then,
Yeah.
right? Okay. Now, so now we're in 26. We're now here in Bandung.
Talking
Why
about all
Bandung?
things.
Why not Jakarta or Yogyakarta or Semarang or Sukabumi, where your oma comes from?
So both my grandparents stayed for a long time in Bandung
Yeah.
also. My grandma's line, her father, her grandfather, for 7 generations all
Uh-huh.
lived in Bandung.
Okay.
And they all got married in Bandung, and some of them passed away here.
Yeah.
And when I arrived in Indonesia, I first of course came to Jakarta, but that city is really hard to live.
I know.
And when I went to Bandung, the people and the atmosphere, the vibe, the weather, the food, I was sold. This was it.
Yeah.
I love it here.
Did you know that Bandung is, compared to Den Haag in the Netherlands, the Indo capital of Indonesia?
Yeah.
The Passage family who decided to stay in Indonesia rather than leaving like my parents, your parents did. They're all in Bandung, and it is like you said, Bandung is the food, right? The fashion, right?
And that's first radio connection.
Yeah.
Bandung,
Yeah.
hello, Den Haag.
Hello Bandung, yeah.
Yeah, hello Bandung.
Yeah, that is correct. That is, and then, so how early were you involved in this Indo culture, in our heritage? How young were you? What made you decide to go, hey, okay, my open Oma talking about, but there is more, especially in the Netherlands, you know, where our Indo community is the biggest, right?
Yeah.
How did it start?
Well, I was raised by them. It started pretty quick when people on school, or the parents of my friends at school, start asking me questions. Even I'm white, but who are your grandparents? They're not from here, and people saw that. But it came a little bit later in my teenage years, like 17. I started really understanding our history, or digging into our history, and start reading. And I start getting interested in our mixed cultural background. Later, in my end, the 20s, I start working at Tong Tong, Pasar Malam Besar.
Also the Tong Tong Fair?
Yeah, Tong Tong Fair. And at Indisch Huis, so I really got into it in the real mixed mass of complicated
organized
community of the Dutch
Indo chaos. Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
And it.
So back then already there was not unity between different Indo platforms. There was always arguing and always what Indos could do.
Different niche and communities. It's really divided in a way.
So if you meeting him or her, working with him or her, I'm not gonna join because you guys, it's so familiar, right? It's
or the ones that, you have the ones that really read about it and write about it, and then you would have, as I would say, the normal people who live it, and that's a big difference. Because the one who write about it, they know probably more about it in a way, but the ones who live it, like a good example is, for example, Paatje Pfefferkorn.
Yeah, have you ever met him?
Yes, I did an interview with him, and I saw him every year on the Pasar, and I visited his house. He's really living.
He is like a living Wikipedia or living Indo encyclopedia. That's correct. Yeah, I know what you're trying to say. So you have smart, education smart, like Leiden Universiteit smart, and you have street smart, like the real Indos who live their lives here. Okay, it's true.
And I think there's a big difference between them.
Definitely. With all respect for those who studied history of our Indo
we should all study it.
But those who are still alive, and if you have an open Oma who are still alive in the 90s, my dad was 92 when he passed away, take the opportunity to record them, what I'm doing right now, and write things down. You will regret if you have not done it, because their stories, there's nothing comparable like Google or like chat, what is it, GPT, whatever,
you
know.
Cannot get it back.
That's the real.
Interview your grandma right now.
Yeah, that's
do it. I did it too with my grandma. I was too young for my grandpa, but.
And then you resigned from the Indisch Huis, and then you came. What is your project? Because we're talking about our Indos, but this is more important for the viewers. Your project. What is the burning thing behind you that you want to move forward? And
so in 2005, I worked in the Indisch Huis, and I got a project from het Gebaar. Do you know het Gebaar?
Yeah, I know that.
They how do you say? They accepted my project, and the project was a music compilation, a CD. With singing, R&B, soul, hip hop. But the story of that music, of those songs, is the history of the Dutch Indonesians. But in modern music.
So Indos involved. Okay, got it. Yeah.
Our history.
Yeah.
We rapped it, we sang it.
Got
and
it.
It's 14 songs, and it's called The Morning Shapes the Night.
The morning shapes the night.
Yeah.
So, for those who know rap music, so the contents of the lyrics of song goes back to the Dutch
1600.
Indies,
Yeah.
and so it's basically history wrapped,
Yeah.
like rapping and
Yeah.
rap
Together
in-
with young Indo-Europeans.
Yeah.
And with that project, we also performed with many other Indo-European artists like Tantalin and
Yeah.
Crazy Rockers with the orchestra.
Yeah.
After that, I moved to Indonesia.
So the project was already established. It was already there. Yeah. Okay.
But just to look into what I'm doing, music, arts, culture. That's where I'm right now with my wife. We make
Yeah.
exhibitions and documentaries and
Wife. You said wife. Okay.
my wife.
You met your wife
In
here
Bandung,
in
yes.
Bandung. What year?
2006, 20 years ago, exactly today, 20 years ago.
Today.
Yeah.
Today, the
fifth-
6th, the
the
5th of 26 is 20 years ago.
2026, the 5th of March, I met her.
2000.
I remember it so well because my grandma's birthday is the 3rd of March. So
Wow.
it's really,
The 3rd of March. Om Otti, als u nu aan het kijken bent, it's your birthday too, right?
Oh, really?
The 3rd, yeah,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
3rd of March, yeah.
Okay.
So, check this out. So, there was no Tinder back then, right?
no. I
So-
just met for friends,
You met in the old-fashioned way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
having a drink together at the coffee shop.
Yeah. Is she Indonesian? Is she Indo? Is she Bule? Is she?
She feels Indonesian, but she knows she has from her dad's side there's Dutch, and from her mom's side there's a little bit Chinese.
Yeah.
From her dad's side, you can see in that family they have the Dutch influence.
Okay.
The father and the grandfather, they were all part of the regions of,
Yeah.
of West Java.
Kraton, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so there's this line that in politics and the foundation of Bandung. It's
Yeah.
really interesting.
Perfect. So, viewers, there are Indonesian Indos, eh? Same thing. I mean, and that line goes, I mean,
Yeah.
generations back, or it could be, that's my next topic, you know, about Indonesian Indo. So, born and raised over here, but with European blood, you know.
Yeah.
So, and she's also involved in your project, right?
Yes, we do everything together.
So, what is your project? That's
Right-
very important. That's
right
what
now, it's a hip hop project.
and the name of your,
Return to Raw. We're going back to the early 80s
yeah,
and starting in New York, of course, where it comes from, hip hop. But in Holland, you have a lot of Indo-Europeans too who were involved in that early movement of hip hop in Holland.
early movement. Who is for you the founder, or which rappers are the founders of the real hip hop for you?
In New York.
No, in general, globally. Who do
the
you
real-
think they definitely should be announced as the founders of hip hop, modern hip hop?
Well, you have Grandmaster Flash,
So definitely, yeah,
Africa Bambaataa, Kool Herc,
yeah,
Grandmaster Cass, but also graffiti writers that people forget about. Scene, Dundee, Lee, Case too.
yeah. Talking about this, what's the connection with graffiti and hip hop and rap?
So there's a part of graffiti that doesn't feel connected to hip hop. They come from the punk side and or from different communities. And then, but when graffiti started from Philadelphia coming to New York,
so it started in Philadelphia.
yeah, it got somehow connected to the early hip hop movement.
It's a good one. It
And-
started in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Remember, guys, the 90s, the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, how that opening scene starts?
Yeah.
There he's shaking his paint bottle, and then he's psst, and then he gets caught. Yeah, there you
Yeah.
go. It's Philadelphia.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I always thought it was New York, you know. But
the
yeah.
graffiti,
Yeah.
yeah. The DJing and the b-boying, the breakdance.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is in New York.
80s, I remember that. The Rocksteady crew, and then
Yeah.
it was always graffiti, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so in Holland, when I started in the early 80s, a lot of graffiti writers were Indo-European, or b-boys
Yeah.
were Indo-European. My
So-
nephew also Indo-European.
So the urban dance, what are they considered to be a
Yes.
hip hop or
Yeah, they're very.
Yeah. It's Dutch, huh? They're Dutch, right?
Yeah,
The urban
very
Dutch,
important for Dutch hip hop.
Yeah.
And the cross-cultural influence what they brought with rock
Yeah.
and it's
That's
urban dance
beautiful,
club
yeah.
is really important.
And what would be the mission from your wife and you with this project? That is very important.
So
for the
we
watch.
want to show that the 80s hip hop,
Yeah.
not now, but the 80s hip hop was really unifying. In that time, people saw really hip hop as a positive thing.
It wasn't R-rated like it is now, right?
No,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
was not. It was not so gangster.
Yeah.
And it was really positive, and people loved to dance, and the colors and the fashion and the music was positive. Of course, there was reality rap too, but in general, all these elements together were really positive. And we want to show that that's a really important foundation for young people worldwide, to use it as a tool to express, whether it's drawing, illustration, or murals, or dancing, or writing lyrics, writing positive lyrics.
That's very important, positive,
That's
yeah.
the outcome of a project we try to
Achieve, yeah.
achieve.
And what is
And we're looking for sponsors
There you go.
and patrons.
Yeah. So, where can they find you on social media? What's the name of the website? The name of your, not company, but of your foundation?
Theblendwithin.com.
Theblendwithin.com. The blend like blending, like mixing it.
Yeah.
Theblendwithin.com.
And on Instagram and YouTube, it's also at theblendwithin.
So it's theblendwithin, one word, .com.
Yes.
Perfect. And your wife's name is?
Reisha,
Reisha.
but we call her Etcha. That's how it
Etcha.
goes in our families, right? We have
Yeah.
nicknames.
There you
Etcha.
go. Thank you for this.
Yes.
And now we're going to the old town of
Have a walk.
Bandung, and then to the other side. We're not going to eat satay, but we're going to the satay building.
I'm vegetarian.
Right? Me too. No,
Okay.
I eat fish.
Okay.
There you go. All right, guys.
Okay.
Up to the
Bye.
other side of Bandung.
Peace.
So I'm here in front of Café Aroma. Says hier, koffiefabriek Aroma sejak 1930. So since 1930, this factory, this coffee factory has been here. So that's the factory part, and this is the retail part. Koffie Aroma in Bandung. Ja. So right now I'm walking at I'm gonna say it, the world famous Jalan Braga. Jalan Braga goes back to Tempo Dulu. Try to picture this. If those buildings, if those walls could talk, you can hear Dutch East Indies history. This is Paris. I said Bandung is also called the Paris of Java. Well, it didn't steal the name. Back in those days, it was all European here, mixed with indigenous Indonesian beauty. Yeah, this is. So Nicky, so describe Jalan Braga in a few words.
The Paris of Java shopping street, where the old fashion stores were and the tea houses, mixed architecture. Yeah, this was in the old times the place to be.
Perfect.
Place to go to.
Yeah. This is beautiful.
And it's really alive. In the evening, young people go here,
Hanging out, yeah.
hanging out, drinking coffee. It's like a mall, but that's good.
Wow. So I just bumped into Charlie's Angels, right? The Bandung Charlie's Angels. Let me ask you guys, what is Bandung known of? You guys are born and raised in Bandung, right?
Yeah.
So tell the viewers, what is Bandung known of?
Bandung is known for its food and its temperature is really cold here because there's a mountain nearby, Kawan Perahu, Kebun Teh, and it's known because the colonial influence on this architecture, like there it's an Art Deco inspired by like
The Belanda people,
yes,
right?
a lot of people, and it's called Paris because it's like Europe. So Paris and fashion, so Paris Pan Java, the Paris of Java. Yeah.
The European influence, including the fashion, because there's a lot of fashion going on over here, and that's why they call it the Paris of Java.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Leaving Braga Art Cafe and look at the tiles. That's East Indies, India, Belanda. Sampai ketemu lagi ya. Bye. Wow. Every Indo that left Indonesia right after its independence from the Dutch, they left with a big suitcase, usually those leather suitcases or a big cabin box, you know, and this is something they always took. In every Indo household there is this. The mountains, the sawas, and so as Tante Lien should say, you see a jongo with those backpacks walking through it.
Ik zat heel lang te kijken, want dit is van de government, van de elektriciteit. En het stond heel eens lang leeg. Ik dacht, dit zou perfect zijn voor een cultureel centrum. De locatie ook, maar ja.
Het hartje, Bandung, echt wel, ja.
Doorloop, dit soort dingen.
Jam lagi, kamu berapa jam? Sama siapa yang belinya mahal kasih buat ini.
If you're in Bandung, you have to go to IMX Hub, driven by culture. Not Indo culture, not Indonesian culture, but car culture. I'm gonna meet up with Andre and Erwin and selamat siang, apa kabar? Selamat siang. And this is it. This is it. This is it.
Your friend.
This is him. This is Andre. Apa kabar? This is saya.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
Look at this. So this is no. This is culture. This is car culture, guys. This is car culture. I'm looking for a guy. His name is Erwin, but I don't see him. Oh, there's Erwin. Gimana kabar?
Good. How are you?
Good.
This is Erwin. Ini kasih saya Nick.
Hello.
Look at this. There you go. Yeah, tunggu dulu. Quick. What is this all about? We met each other at the Indonesian consulate in LA, Erwin and Andre. So tell what this car culture is about in Indonesia. Okay, with, well, the roads are getting better, but still, explain to the people how is it possible that in Indonesia all the exotic cars are available to drive. So
Win, jelasin Win.
Bahasa Indo aja kali ya.
Bahasa.
English possible.
Oh, English.
Yeah,
Okay.
no problem.
Okay. It is all possible, like, you know, for modified cars in Indonesia. Like you can see in this cafe, like more than 50% all exotic cars are modified.
Yeah.
And they're all driving in on the street.
Yeah.
So it is possible. It's like you know, like we are also using the kit from Japan.
Yeah.
And then we are also importing parts to other countries as well. So we also have brands. So we make the industry lead.
Yeah. So right now, there are rules in Indonesia, but how is it possible you see exotic cars in Jakarta like Ferraris, Aston Martin, McLaren,
Lamborghinis, and stuff, yeah.
So sometimes I see left-hand steering wheel.
Yes.
Sometimes right, especially made for the English market. So the left-hand steering wheels, those are imported from out of Indonesia.
Yes.
So the owner has to pay a lot of money on import duties.
Of course.
Yeah.
And you know the tax in Indonesia is really high.
Yeah.
300% tax.
Yeah. But besides that, they don't care.
They don't care about it. Yeah.
But your company is specializing in body kits.
Yeah, body kits and modifying cars.
Modifying. So
Yeah.
performance-wise,
Yes.
anything. Yeah.
And we also have what do you call it? An association.
Yeah. Association.
So it's based on all modificators in Indonesia. Basically we're all over from Indonesia.
Yeah. So there is, for every class in Indonesia, there is always something that you can offer.
Yes.
Even it's the guy from the kampung with a Civic, or the guy from Kemang or Jaksel with a Ferrari. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
So we were talking earlier about the word Indo. Like Rumah Sakit becomes RS. Polisie Republik Indonesia becomes Polri. Tim Nasional becomes Timnas. Indonesia becomes Indo. But then now this guy, he just said, where's your Oma from?
From Amsterdam.
So your Oma is Bule.
Yeah.
Bule.
Bule.
And your Opa is?
From Surabaya.
Surabaya.
Yeah. Army. Yeah.
Here you go. A Indonesian father with a European mother becomes also Indo from Oma's side.
Yeah.
That's freaking awesome. Thank you for sharing. Nog altijd leeg.
Het wordt gebruikt voor evenementen, maar het gaat heel slecht, heel slungelig.
Right now, I'm standing in front of the building that was used in 1955 when President Sukarno hosted and organized the Bandung conference. It's the first time there was a African and Asian get together, basically. But here, this historical building next to the beautiful, majestic theater. And in front of me, you see also a beautiful building from the Dutch East Indies era. Landbouwbenodigdheden, import, commissionaires, vendhouders, warenhuis de Vries. So anything needed for agriculture and all the things that goes together with farming, right here in front of me. But if you want to spend $200 a night, this is the place you want to stay. The Savoy in Bandung. And that's Art Deco, right?
Yes, beautiful.
This is go to Bandung. Paris from Java, right? There you go. And if you go to Bandung, let us know. Nick will be your guide.
Yes. There's our car. Lekker.
So when you walk the streets of Surabaya, you still see a lot of ancient buildings from the Dutch East Indies era, you know, early 1900s. And what hurts the most is, look, this or these are the leftovers. If these walls could talk, you know all the history. And what even hurts more is that on each of those Dutch East Indies era buildings there is graffiti. Look at this. Nothing is done to basically destroying. I wonder why the city of Bandung allows this. Any building I've seen over here has graffiti on it. Now I'm here with Nicky at Dago Atas. Jalan Dago is also one of the famous popular streets in Bandung. And it basically goes from the center of Bandung, Jalan Dago, all the way up in the mountains, right?
Yes.
So this is called Dago Atas.
Yeah.
So Dago and then Atas, up, boven.
Yeah.
Look at this.
Look at the mist.
Yeah. If we blindfold you guys and we drive up the hills, and we unfold you over here. Look, those trees. This is like Europe.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't see a palm tree over here. Yeah. And then you don't see gorillas in the mist, but you see houses in the mist right over there.
This is not Africa, this is Asia.
So basically, pine trees, oak trees, and we're in the freaking tropics over here. The weather is perfect now. There's wind. That's the difference between Jakarta or Solo, Yogyakarta. We're in the mountains. We're basically right over there. You see the cloud? Right behind me, that is Apple's iCloud. That's how high we are, you know. And when you breathe in, so over here for sure. Enak banget, yeah. Yeah, this is. But anyhow, I want to show you guys here. So if you ever go to Bandung, this is also a place you have to visit. And then tell something about the caves.
So close to here is a big forest.
Yeah.
And there's the caves that the Dutch used in the World War II. It's the Goa Blanda.
To hide from the Japanese?
To hide from Japanese, but nearby is also the Japanese caves. When they took over, they also built their caves.
It's still open to the public?
It's still open for public. Yeah. You can visit it, you can walk through the caves. It's very dark and spooky.
Yeah, there you go. And there's monyet here, right?
And there's
the monkeys right here over here, yeah?
A lot of monyet.
So not only in monkey forest in Bali, but here?
Yeah, we have monkeys. Sometimes when the food is scarce, they're trying to get close to the city and go to people's roofs.
They go down. Yeah.
They go down.
Yeah.
But not as far as us.
There you go. So it's raining now. Yeah, as if we could be in Switzerland now or in the Belgian Ardennes. But yeah, but thanks for bringing me over here. This is something. This is the other side of Bandung. I've never been. It's similar to the Puncak when you go from Jakarta to Bogor. These places. Wow. Did you know that in Bandung there is a building and the top of the roof has a shape of a satay skewer? Look at this. Right behind me is the Gedung Satay, or the Satay building. It used to be the governor's office back in the Dutch East Indies in 1920. This is it, the final. It's almost 7:05 p.m. I'm about to board on the WHOOSH, and thank you for watching. I hope you had a great time with me and Nicky in Bandung in the Paris of Java. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that bell button and give me a thumbs up and leave a comment. I will always respond. See you next time. Bye.
Halo, selamat malam.
See.